You also brought some tips about career transition. You're saying you were involved, you just went through your own career transition.
Yes.
And by the way, when you were talking about how you found your job originally, you were giving them a model for how to find jobs, but you also have some tips for job hunters or career transition. I thought I would do the same thing, read the bullet points.
Yes.
The first thing you say is know yourself, know thyself. Focus on your strengths and skills and the value you can add.
Absolutely. I think if you think of yourself as a product, and I don't mean to be crass about it, you
No, that makes sense.
have to figure out how to position yourself in the marketplace, much like a marketeer would position his or her product in front of customers. So I think knowing your skills and your variety of skills and being able to attach those skills to accomplishments, knowing your values, what really turns you on and what you're willing to accept, understanding how you would add value to an organization are crucial. So I think people don't take enough time to take this thorough inventory of what makes them who they are, and being able to categorize the skill sets into different, I call them buckets, and then figure out, what are these set of skills? What are these attributes? What are these interests that really draw me in this direction? Why am I interested?
And what kind of results do you produce that the person you're talking to can say, hey, I want her on my team?
Exactly.
Right. You say, think of yourself as self-employed. This is great. I'm getting validation. This is exactly how I coach. So, with your 20 years experience, so think of yourself as self-employed.
You have to be entrepreneurial.
Yes.
Totally. Because if you really think, going back to the analogy of a product, positioning and you have to. I'll go back and say two things. In order to successfully find a job, half of the battle is to be at the right place at the right time. I always say that. Having said that, the other half of the battle is being able to communicate and articulate your qualification to a prospective buyer, and that's how I would put it. What was the second point? Where was I going?
Think of yourself as self-employed. So you have to be entrepreneurial within the. You have to see, what I would usually say is you have to see some sort of a problem and solve it, even if it's not, somebody didn't tell you, go do this.
Exactly. So I always say it's a merger, it's an intersection between your career objectives and the mission of the organization. And you need to figure out how to articulate, how to make sense of what you've done and parlay it, if you will, to what the company needs, or maybe it's a project, maybe it's not even, maybe it's a consulting job. It doesn't have to be a regular job. But how do you convince someone, the buyer, that who has choices, that what you offer will be the most meaningful value add to the organization?
Okay, and you mentioned researching the market here, which I think it's sort of self-explanatory. But that's exactly what you did, right? You were looking at all in California and so forth.
Absolutely. But before you move on, it's my pet peeve, actually.
Okay.
I believe that the downfall of many job hunters is lack of research. Particularly if you're making a career transition, if you do not know inside and out what a particular job entails that you want to move into, you're going to have a very hard time connecting the skills that are transferable into the job functions, the duties of that position. So research is fundamental. I think what makes or breaks a job hunt is the sophistication of that research. Okay.
Cultivate your professional network. That one's huge, right?
Absolutely. It goes back to this notion of people give people jobs. It's all about people, it's all about relationships. I don't care what your business is, whether you're looking for a job or even in my position as a fundraiser, it's all about relationships. And people who know you, who trust you, you have credibility, they will be happy to help you.
Especially if you approach it the way you did, where you're asking for information and not pressing them for work.
Absolutely.
They know you're looking.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. The trick is never to have to ask for a job. Right?
Yeah.
And so if you conduct your informational interviews well, you're prepared as if you're doing a job interview,
Yes.
then the person is going to be so impressed with you that you will cultivate that relationship, keep in touch. You've got to do the right things, keep in touch, do your thank you notes, be helpful.
Who else should I speak with?
Exactly.
What other meetings should I be going to?
Exactly.
Commit to continuous learning. Keep your skills up to date. Huh?
Absolutely. I mean, you're never too old to learn. And particularly in Silicon Valley or this Bay Area, this region, you become obsolete overnight. You've got to keep it up depending on your field. And certainly, when I made my career transition, I knew nothing about fundraising.
Right.
It was from ground zero, learning, banking on my skills and really learning some techniques, learning about the art of fundraising or the science of fundraising.
Yeah.
A lot of learning, and I'm not done yet. I have so much more to learn, and it's
That's
very
where the
exciting.
continuous comes in.
Continuous learning.
And you say take initiative.
If you want to make a career transition, you have to wake up and get to work on it. You cannot give up. You have to be aggressive. Well, maybe aggressive is not a good word. Assertive. You cannot let rejection get in the way. And when you wake up in the morning, it's another new day. Yesterday is over. Tomorrow is another potential person with whom you can connect, make a relationship. That person can introduce you to someone else. Initiative also means that you do the right research. To me, again, it goes back researching and relationship building. Because if you do the two, bring them together, someone's going to be impressed with you. Someone's going to want you to be part of their team.
I can't more than agree. I mean, that is fantastic advice. We're running a little short on time. I wanted to ask you, are there careers, people can obviously make lateral moves within universities too, right? Just like you did,
Yes.
where you can create a career by moving around a little bit too. You're not just
Absolutely.
stuck in your...
Absolutely.
Can you talk just
Yes,
briefly on that?
Yes. For instance, let's take an area that people might relate to. It's the area of student affairs in a university setting. So in student affairs, we have such departments as student activities. They put on programs for student leadership. We have Greek life. People belong to sororities and fraternities, and you have opportunities to manage and help students, get extracurricular experiences, or co-curricular experiences would be a better term. The Career Development Center, the Counseling Center. Now, if I wanted to remain in student affairs, I could have maybe made a switch from career development to student activities or to the dean's office. You can move up the ranks in management depending on where you want to head. So
there's a way to keep on using their skills and moving around.
Absolutely.
We've run out of time, and I have so much more to ask you. I didn't even get to all of the things I wanted to.
That's great.
We'll just have to try to have you back if we could ever free up your schedule.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Lina, for being on the show.
Pleasure.
Thank you. And thank you for watching You're Hired. If you have any questions for us about this show or suggestions for other shows, questions about jobs and careers, feel free to email me at steve@bayareacareercoach.com. Again, that's steve@bayareacareercoach.com. And do check out the website, the 12 Keys to Getting a Great Job. Find out about the career coaching. And I also have the contact information of everyone who's been on this show. So we have the university, and we have some contact information there. And the website's www.bayareacareercoach.com. Again, it's www.bayareacareercoach.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time on You're Hired. And thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
You everything you said is how I coach my it's such validation, and you've done it for 20 years, but relationships, thinking of yourself as a product, even people in